No matter how you feel about Finalmouse, they have really made an impact on the mouse game with their trend-setting designs. The only problem is they are super hard to get. The drop sell out within seconds, then you gotta run to eBay and pay 3 times the price. What I love about what they're doing now is that they're releasing these mice in batches. So what I did was I waited till December and I picked up batch 2 and it got delivered sometime in January. I used my own money because I wanted to get the full experience of buying a Finalmouse ULX at that $190 price tag, and I want to see, as a consumer, is this mouse worth it? So let's start with the build. It is now using a carbon fiber composite material compared to the magnesium alloy that they were using in the previous Finalmouse Starlight 12. What you'll love about this new material is that it doesn't get as cold as the other magnesium Finalmouse, making it easier to grip and hold on to. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really use the Viper Mini Ultimate and to some degree the Starlight 12, because the mouse 1 and 2 and the back of the mouse where your palm rests get really slippery when cold. You don't get that warmth that you get with plastic where it really melts into your hand. When you're holding a piece of metal, you know you're holding metal, and it gets really cold and slippery and it's not comfortable. It now comes in 3 different sizes: small, medium, and large. For those of you with large mitts for hands, they brought back the Air 58 like version in the large. I love companies like Finalmouse and Pulsar who are releasing 3 different sizes in their mice. It just goes to show that they actually care about the consumer getting the right fit. They could have just released one version of this mouse and be done with it, but they give you 3 different sizes to choose from. And some other companies can actually learn for this. Logitech. Sorry. Now, if you don't know what size to get, I would recommend going with the medium version, which is what I have. With all 3 of the versions, they've managed to shave off a couple of grams off of each, and it is a very well balanced mouse that seemingly disappears in your hand. You would think that the mouse would be too light at 37 grams, but it is perfect. Now, one thing I'm still not a huge fan of is holes in 2024. Now, I get it, we need it for the signal to go through, the wireless signal to go through the holes. I get it because of the materials, so on and so forth, but there's just something, you just can't beat a fully enclosed shell. You just can't. It is just far superior in my opinion when it comes to comfort and grip, because there's just less to hang on to when you have your palm on a cheese grater. Let's be real, on a cheese grater. I will say that on the back, structurally, it is very weak near the hump, so I don't think you'll want to drop this a whole lot, but in everyday use, it's not going to be an issue. They've also removed the DPI button from the top, and now you can change it through their browser software, which we'll get into later. Then on the bottom, everything is pretty much the same. Sensor placement is good. It's got the 4 mouse feet, and they've removed more hexagons near the back of the mouse. They've also now changed it to USB-C. Hallelujah, no more USB micro. Now, as for the buttons, I'm not completely sold. They are still better than the Starlight 12 clicks, which I found to be heavy, but these aren't the crispiest things in the world. There's a little bit of wiggle on them. It does have a nice cushioned bottom out, but the crispiness leaves just a little bit to be desired. They still can't seem to outdo the Ultralight 2's clicks, which I believe was their best release for buttons. I will say I'm really disappointed with the scroll wheel. It just doesn't feel as refined as you would hope on a $190 mouse. It's scratchy, doesn't feel as accurate to me, and I've had the button stick when I press it down, so I don't know if I got a bad copy or what, but I'm just not feeling this scroll wheel. I will say though that the side buttons are spectacular, light, crispy, and it's my favorite part of this mouse. If you're a company that's trying to make a new mouse or looking to improve, look at the ULX's side buttons, because this is perfection. This is what you want to copy right here. But don't take my word for it. Let's drop a sound test of the ULX from Finalmouse. Talk a little bit about who this mouse is for, grip styles, all that good stuff. If you've used the previous mouse and you love it, you're gonna love the shape here because it's pretty much the same. Now, I've always used the Finalmouse in claw grip, and I think the only mouse I used it in palm grip was the Air 58, and I could never put my finger on it why I never felt quite at home, and maybe some of you have felt this same way. And I believe it's because of this low profile hump in the back. Your palm just tends to slide up the back and you can never get a really firm grip on the mouse. It just doesn't want to stick in place. So this time around, I just said, F that, I'm not feeling comfortable. Let's go with a fingertip grip. And that's what I did, and I've been clicking heads with it. I think I've come to the conclusion that this is either a fingertip grip mouse or a palm grip mouse first, and then a claw grip if you just want something that's okay. Maybe you can use it, but I think it leans more towards fingertip grip and palm grip. That's just what I think. I think there's plenty of other palm grip, claw palm, relax claw, relax palm mice out there, like the Sprime PM1, the Lamzus, the Pulsars. There's just so much better claw grip mice out there that I would pass on it if you're claw grip, but that's just my opinion. You don't have to do what I say. You can do whatever the you want to do. Hell, I'd even take a Superlight 2 over this mouse for claw grip, for sure, hands down. So for as long as I can remember, Finalmouse has never had software, but that has changed with the ULX. They now have this X panel. It's a new browser software and it works flawlessly and better than others that I've tried. You can easily swap between the DPI, the polling rate, which at the moment can go up to 4,000 Hertz, but they do have 8,000 Hertz that is coming. You can also change the liftoff distance from 1 to 2 millimeters. It's got motion sync. You can change the dongle LED, and finally you can update the firmware of the mouse all through this X panel, which runs off the browser. None of that bloatware software like Razer Synapse or anything that's going to mess with your games. It's just on a browser. You just got to set it once and then forget it. You only really have to pull it up when you need to do a firmware update. The battery indicator on the software, I will say, needs some tweaking because I charged the mouse overnight. It's still at 45%, hasn't gone over that. Then it jumped down to 41%, then it jumped back up to 45%. It's really, really weird. It's not accurate, and that's something that they need to work on within the software. So it's not perfect. I like the signal strength thing that they have on here because it actually does work. When I move the dongle closer or farther, it actually does change the way the signal is picked up. As for the battery life, the 4,000 Hertz almost cuts the battery life in half. It dies really, really fast. Maybe like 2 days, 3 days, it's gonna die on you. So if battery life is a concern, I definitely go with 1,000 Hertz or the 2,000 Hertz as a happy medium. I think you'll definitely enjoy using this mouse much more than the Starlight 12. I think this is a really good update to that mouse because, like I said, they did a really good job balancing the mouse. So controlling it with fingertip grip or palm grip just feels effortless, and it's light enough to where it's easy to throw around, but it's not gonna disappear from your hand, making you inactive, because too light of a mouse can cause control issues and it can be detrimental to your overall accuracy. So in conclusion, if you're going to pick up this mouse, you need to decide whether you want the small, medium, and large. If you don't know what to get the medium. I think grip style wise, you need to be fingertip grip or palm grip. Go from there. Claw grip, I think you guys can skip this one. There's a lot more options out there, like I said. I would, however, love to see Finalmouse come up with a new shape because they have just been rehashing this shape for the longest time. I think it's time for a hump or an ergo mouse. Something with a little bit of flair on it just to spice things up a little bit, because I think this design is getting a little stale with this ambidextrous shape. And also, as a mouse nerd, I really want to see what Finalmouse is going to come up with when it comes to designing a new shape. Now, they've got the low input lag on this thing. You know, for me, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid just yet on that. I think that you can get used to any mouse that you can, you know, put your hands on. And the more you have to think about, oh, am I getting like 2 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds? Like, the more it's going to mess with your overall aim. Just one more thing to think about that you don't need to be thinking about. You need to be focused on the actual game, your game sense. So I don't really like to focus on my input lag too much, because most of the mice, in my opinion, are pretty up to snuff as is. But I do like that they are trying to make advancements with the wireless technology. It is overall a banger of a mouse. It does have some quirks with it. I'm not completely happy with it, but I do think that my $190 was well spent on this mouse, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. So if you have any more questions about this mouse, let me know down in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer it. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. It has been your boy BT saying peace.